we're in a time of social acceptance. And it's kind of weird to me. I've always thought bodybuilders were the first feminists.
Yeah.
Because I was at Gold's Gym back in the 80s, and the females were in there pumping iron.
In the most amazing shape.
And we would spot each other on the bench. I never thought, oh, you're a girl, you need pink dumbbells, go next door.
They trained like badasses. Yeah. It was awesome.
But so beyond that, and
that was the golden age.
Yeah.
Welcome to the fourth episode of the AWL podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Wiseman. Before we get started, please make sure that you like this video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and leave a comment below. And I'd like to introduce you to Mike Demeter, a very long-time friend of mine. We've been in the same industry for probably close to 12 and a half years. He's been in it much longer. He's what we would call the first personal trainer of Canada, at least. Mike, if you want to take a second to just quickly introduce yourself.
I don't know the first one of Canada, but it does feel like it at times. Hi, I am Mike Demeter. I've been a personal trainer now for about 40 years. I've mentored under some of the notables, from Vince Gironda to Charles Poliquin. I had the pleasure of working with John Berardi and a lot of other great names in the industry. I've been with Good Life Fitness Clubs for over 30 years now. Just love what I do. I think it's that you're either earning or learning, but it's an incessant cycle that I don't want to stop.
Yeah, and speaking of earning and learning, I think you were one of the main people who taught me that if I wasn't investing my time and money in education, besides the initial, courses that I had taken when I first got started, I really wasn't going to go anywhere in the industry. And I was very, very lucky that when I first started working at Good Life, you were introduced to me pretty much right away, and I found out that you guys were all enrolled in PICP level 1.
That's right.
And I was like, what is that? And I was obviously intrigued because everyone was going to take it. Yeah. And you mentioned it was Charles Poliquin certification. Yeah. And I knew of Charles, but I didn't know he had a certification. And I was like, oh my God, I got to call my dad. I got to get $3,500 because I wasn't making any money yet. I just started.
Yeah.
And literally my second week working there, I was stuck in a course for 5 days, but it changed everything for me. And, obviously I think so many people in our industry need to understand that you should be spending like 20% of your income on education.
Honestly, yeah. And I think it's not just taking what you're interested in. You have to take enough diversity in the courses so you can answer the educated consumer, because inevitably now the internet has made them that either educated in good material or educated in not such good material, but we have to be able to respond to that.
Yeah.
And as I said, I started in the industry under Vince Gironda, which was primarily the classic physique and the golden era of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And I learned much under Vince.
Yeah.
And then I went to Charles, who was almost diametrically opposed. I mean, everyone admires the outcome, the physique or the functional physique.
Yeah.
But Charles was a strength coach.
Yeah.
And you and I put in our time from Olympic lifting to powerlifting, and oh my goodness, the functional balancing of the musculature, etc.
Structural balance, all that good stuff.
And it was fun to learn. And I think I kind of had, after a while, that meh moment.
Yeah.
That I like the physique side more.
Yeah.
But I had to have taken enough other materials. So if someone came to me wanting Olympic lifting, I say, I know what you want to do. Here's your guy. And I'd send him to you.
Yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't know who to send him to, because you'd be like, well, that guy does CrossFit, so I'm going to send him to you, right?
Yes.
Nothing against CrossFit, but...
Not on tape. No, and listen, if it's getting people out and exercising and they're injury-free, I think that's the big caveat.
That's always been my number one philosophy, or at least value, as a coach, has been you have to get your client from A to B, and you have to do it safely.
Right.
They have to be able to accomplish their goal, and they have to do it without injury. If you screw your client up, whether it's their health, their mental health, or their physical health, you are terrible at your job, and you should be liable to that. And that's always been my perspective. And because of that, I've always taken a very extra safe approach, where I've tried my best to ensure that my clients stay healthy and they don't get injured. And whenever I would ever experience anything like that, I always felt so defeated, but let alone it's been very rare occasions, but I agree. CrossFit, definitely not what it used to be.
No, well, and I think the difficulty is if we judge things by the upper echelon, bodybuilding is incredibly impressive, albeit drug abuse, some of the extremes.
Extreme, for sure. That is like, in my opinion, the heavy metal of the gym.
Yeah.
There are the extremes on every aspect. But
extreme Olympic, extreme powerlifting,
for sure.
Extreme. And enough of our coach friends have all posted time to time on social media that anytime you ask an extreme of the body, we're going to pay a price.
Yeah.
At 56,
I'm
paying some prices for having played at strength athlete.
Yeah.
But you had to go through it to know it was either your thing or not your thing.
And I can't even begin to explain how many times I've blown my back out to the point where I was almost momentarily paralyzed and living my life on a couch and having to have my neighbor come over to help me from the couch to the bathroom. Terrible times, but you learn.
And this is it. And I always joke with my clients that I always do double what I'm offering up to them.
Yeah.
Because inevitably in my absence, they're of that mentality. If 1 is good, 2 is twice as good. And 10 times that. It's good.
That was Charles' mentality.
So I'll take too much of the pre-workout supplement and tell them, you won't sleep that night.
Yeah.
Or I do the extra sets and I go, oh boy, I'm not walking for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
So I know I can give them the caveat or the forewarning necessary.
So what do you think of coaches who give clients programs to follow or diets to follow who have never themselves done it?
Well, if you've never done it, you can't really pass judgment on it or, more importantly, apply its suitability to that client.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing where either take the course and say, I'm your man and I can offer sage advice.
Yeah.
Or this isn't something of interest to me or something I've taken and I've got a great name for you. When you develop that synergy and I'm referring to you and you're referring to her and she's referring to me, there's enough fish for all of us.
For sure. It feeds everybody.
I know we're not supposed to drop too many names, but I really like Christian Thibodeau's neurotyping for that.
Yeah.
Because some guys want to be an explosive Olympic lifter.
Yeah.
Some want to be a slow grinding power lifter. Others need some variety. I'm further down. I need to feel the muscle.
Yeah.
Or I don't care what I bench, but I better feel the pecs when I do it.
Yeah.
Or I'm not even going to do that exercise. And then you've got the safety type.
Yeah.
So if you don't pick the right routine to suit that person, no matter what the science behind it, they're not looking forward to it.
It should be an enjoyable experience.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to suit the routine not just to the goal, but to the person. There's got to be 100 ways to take them there.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's funny because I remember Charles taught us about the elements, the 5 elements.
Yeah,
right?
that's it exactly.
And I think from what you're saying, Christian Thibodeau's neurotyping is really a much more advanced, up-to-date version of that that can be applied. The other one was very challenging to apply, right? Because it was like anyone could read it and say, you know what, the fire type sounds the best, so I'm the fire type. Yeah. And I would definitely be like, I'm the fire type. I'm not. I used to be.
Yes.
But I'm not anymore, right? Now I'm probably a lot more on the wood spectrum because I definitely need more variety now, and I need to listen to my body. I can't I can't keep going all out. I've had to step back significantly, right? And it's interesting. I would wonder, or I would even ask you, do you think even if you did the neurotyping stuff, would it be safe to say that in like 15 to 20 years that could change, or would it always be that?
That's interesting because that's like the neurotransmitter tests. Can it change? And I believe all of them can change to an extent. I think fundamentally, if you're a fast twitch dominant or you handle high lactate levels or what you're comfortable with at the gym, but the gym has to draw you in.
Yeah.
If it isn't a program that you look forward to and suits you, you're not going to comply.
Yeah.
You're going to start evolving it in the trainer's absence to something you'd rather be doing at the gym.
Yeah.
Or you'll be hesitant to commit to the extremes that deliver the outcome that the coach is looking for because it's not in the cards for you. Do I think it'll change dramatically? No. But I think the client has to go through what we went through and sample some different things. For me, the strength of the neurotype is as much the personality test side of it as it is anything else.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And it's interesting, because I do think that I've changed as far as like the type of trainee. And I'm sure that you're well aware. I mean, you've watched me, in and outside of the gym for how long has it been? 2007, 13 years, 14 years, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, my body's changed, my mind's changed. I've gone in and out of certain levels of being hyper fit or out of shape. And what I've come to realize is that all I want now is to be healthy and to be able to function well and to be able to take care of myself. You know, and if we're talking anything on an aesthetic level, I just want to be intimidating. You know, I want someone to question whether or not it's a good decision to step up to me.
Yep.
And so long as I'm leaving that seed of doubt, that's good enough because I can feed off of that, right? I don't ever want to walk into a room and everyone think I can kill that guy. I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that walks in and goes, that guy can kill.
Yes.
You know, and it's important that I feel like I give off that perspective.
Right.
Because I know that if shit were to hit the fan, I want to be able to be protected for the sense that people might not touch me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's funny you say it because inevitably in the interview process, you say, I just want to be healthy.
Yeah.
And we have to decimate that and say, so
dig
what's
deep.
health to you?
Yeah.
You know, but that said, I'll get the executive that comes in, you know, high performing, wants everything done yesterday. How can I help you? It's a pretty deep question. And what comes out of it is, well, I'd like to look like a bodybuilder, lift like a power lifter, and move like a porn star. I can come 3 days a week typically. I'm not into supplements. Can we do it by summer? Oh, sure. Well, it can be on our way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, get into the length of that journey. But so, clearly we have to inform and direct and say, well, in a hierarchy, what's most important first? But yeah, and I think that takes us back to the neurotyping or what drives you and brings you to the gym. And some guys want to look the part and then just be pain-free. And inevitably, when you pursue physique, you're going to gain some strength. Yeah. And when you pursue strength, you're going to develop some musculature. But then just going back to Charles, the old one ass, one saddle.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you can't chase two rabbits at the same time. You can't catch either.
Unless you have a machine gun.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Which was his method, right? So, I agree with you. And I think that it's really about helping that person understand what their goals actually are. Mm-hmm. And then if you can really, really create as specific a goal as possible, 2 to 3 of those goals specifically, and someone like yourself or myself, it's probably not too challenging to be able to connect the goals and the habits, behaviors, and things that need to be done daily to achieve all 3 of those things. But it's also about helping that person control expectations, because so many people will say, yes, we can accomplish the goal that's all the way to the right, the goal that's all the way to the left, and the goal that's all the way up and down. When in reality, you should probably be doing one of those at a time and then extrapolating goals from those, or specific needs and goals from those. Otherwise, you get this client who's bouncing back and forth constantly. They're in control. They're telling you, now I want to focus on that. Today I want to focus on this. And then you never really get anywhere, right?
And, when we had a big meeting at Good Life, this was a while back, and they were asking some of the veterans, what do we see in the future? And I said the death of periodization. Because to your point, we've got different strength qualities. And for 1 month, I'm doing relative strength. And we're doing 10 by 3 on a bench with 5 minutes between sets. If month 2, I go, okay, now this phase is a burn phase. And we're going to do battling ropes and
murder them.
But he's going to lose all his bench press accomplishment and everything, because the demands you're making of the body, it says, oh, this is what you want. Let me get rid of some of this muscle and make you more in endurance. So the death of, I've been on a build phase for about 30 years now. I'm clearly not going to be competing at the Mr. America. But and to have taken time off to do athleticism, unless it's a goal of mine, would have been a pointless, we're just taking you through the menu.
But the benefit for you of doing what you've been doing is it's allowed you to stay consistent.
Yes.
Because you enjoy it. And in my opinion, or at least I've come to this thought process, eventually you come to the point where you really just need to be doing what's going to keep interest. Because I can guarantee you someone over a 10-year time frame in the gym is always going to be in better shape for it compared to someone who went for 3 to 6 months and hyper-focused on something that wasn't super exciting to them, got a crazy result, but didn't have any other tools or skills in the gym, and eventually they burnt out from that and never went back.
And it's almost an information overload. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think the onus is on us to bring things down to simplicity.
Yeah.
That being said, we've done the biosignature and advanced biosignature,
Do you understand how lucky we are?
Yeah, I know.
That we got to take those courses
Yeah.
when they were taught by who taught them.
Yep.
In today's day and age, coaches don't even have even 1/10 of that quality of information put together in a way that course was, thus giving us tools.
But we should be clear here to the people out there that the biosignature inevitably is just a use of the calipers to track the pattern of body fat storage.
Yeah.
So your dominant fat storage point could be like that we have carbohydrate issues, we have androgen issues, we have cortisol issues, and you work from there. But where I was going to go with this is that's very deep.
Yeah.
And we're so excited to go deep with people,
Yeah.
but they get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself of this. So I could give them a list of 20 supplements and 2 workout a day plus to take them there. And then they go, oh, this is what it takes to get to my goal. Do you know what I'm using a lot now? Weight Watchers Freestyle as an entry point.
Yeah.
You got these many points in a day.
I think that's not a bad idea.
And
Because it creates consistency.
just eat enough protein and use up your points on whatever you want. And the free list, their currency of trade is inevitably fat and starch.
We've dumbed down our nutrition significantly.
You have to.
Yeah.
Because once they've mastered that,
It's easy to branch out.
it's easier to say, you know what, we're going to keep on that, but let's add the multivitamin and the fish oil.
Yeah.
And by the inch it's a cinch, by the art it's hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they conceptually are getting it as you go along. And if you can make your client a junior trainer in their own right,
Yeah.
they're equipped to fend off the dogma that's just so prevalent in our industry.
Yeah.
Every month they come out with something new. The secret your trainer didn't want you to know.
Exactly.
I got news for you. I want you to know everything.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping any secrets.
No, for sure. And I think alongside any type of coaching, especially in our industry, it's important that you are actually educating your client.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, it helps them make sure that they aren't accessing and absorbing stupidity. Because that's going to hurt them. That's going to hurt their progress.
And it makes our job harder.
Yeah, way, way harder. Ugh.
Well, that said, I keep an ongoing mailing list, if you will, of clients that you currently with or previously been with. And if I see a good article, I used to just send out the link. Yeah, well, they won't go to that.
Yeah.
So now I copy and paste. Well, they still wouldn't do that. So I copy and paste and put some pictures in. They started to read it.
Yeah.
Now I copy, paste, hit return a couple times so it looks like bullets.
Yeah.
I highlight for them and they, I like that article.
Yeah.
And then the neat thing was it ended up a marketing tool that I didn't predict.
Yeah.
They ended up sharing it with friends and family.
Newsletters can be powerful still.
But the newsletter, I always warn junior trainers, don't get in too deep and start saying, I'll be giving you a monthly newsletter.
Because you might not.
Well, yeah, you become successful, you become busy. And as soon as the clients see a decrement in your delivery, they think you're caring less.
Yeah, I agree.
Or,
Yeah, we just started our newsletter back up. And we probably hadn't done anything since 2018.
Yeah.
But we have like a 10,000 person list.
Wow. Okay.
And that's through years and years and years of marketing and advertising and working with clients, right? And so we put we used one software called Get Response.
Okay.
And we put out our first welcome back, our initial email saying we're restarting this list, and we give people an awesome discount and all this cool stuff, information. And we got a really bad opening rate, and we got so many people that unsubscribed and blacklisted us, which is very strange. And it almost destroyed our list. So we had to get out of Get Response, and we converted it over to MailChimp, which is another software to use. And then we did a email the next month, and we got a 34% open rate, which is a good open rate is usually when it's your own clientele roster, 15%. So we got 34%. And so it was like insanely big, and we got like no one blacklisted us, no one unsubscribed.
Right.
So,
and what was the big difference? What do you think triggered?
I think it was just we must have had people on that list that just didn't want to hear from us. And then once we sent out the
There's
first,
the guilt now during lockdown.
Yeah, and once we sent that first one out, we got rid of all those people.
That's smart.
So then when we went to the second one, now it's just the people that actually care.
Yeah.
So, but man, like I was scared. I was like, we're just starting this. Yeah. We're just starting the network, the newsletter back up. My goal is to start creating a little bit more avenues of organic capacity of bringing new clientele in and delivering quality content to people, as opposed to constantly paying for marketing, right? And I was like, damn, this is how rough the newsletter world is. I don't know if it's worth continuing. But it was just the first one. You go to the second one, all of a sudden it's like 10x better, right? So it's interesting, you know, obviously you don't want a coach to put themselves in a situation where they're putting too much on their plate that's unrealistic for them to keep up. If they're a one man or woman shop, I agree 100%. But if they can find 1 to 3 things that they can do consistently that they enjoy doing, that is fairly easy for them, that brings a lot of value, they should figure out what that is ASAP and make that as a part of what they offer, right?
No, I agree. And it was funny because the BioSig was very good as a second, you know, income stream if you wanted. I never, I stopped selling the supplements quickly after because it looked like a bit of a hustle.
We've come away from that.
Measure them up and I'd say, oh, and I can help you. I've got, you know, open your jacket. You need the following supplements. Right? And so it seemed too biased. So what I did is, in a win-win spirit, I'd send them off to Popeyes or the local health food store.
So it's disconnected. I did that a lot as well. I didn't
well,
really enjoy doing it though. Because
you got a club with a display.
Yeah.
That's quite different than me, you know, reaching into my gym bag and going,
I mean, that's not so far away from reaching into the trunk of the car and pulling out a tincture or something, right? Yeah. It's funny.
So, you know, I pulled out of that though because it also diluted my earnings. Yeah. Because something as deep as the biosignature attracts people that want to talk about it forever. Yeah. And I can't get to a point where I start charging them for responses. So you have some great questions. Could you batch them? So every Friday, send me your top 5 questions of the week. Yeah. So, you know, out I went, and I'm back. I love being a coach. Yep. And especially in the genres that I'm, you know, best at, because it's what I do. And follow that, and I guess the idea of how to generate more out of that falls into either partner training, you know, or inevitably some sort of mentoring, like you said, where we start to help the upcoming learn from our mistakes so they don't have to make the same ones themselves. Yeah, and you know, what I used to do with the biosignature, and I honestly haven't done one in years, I'm pretty much completely off the gym floor, right? Yep. So what we used to do is we would do a biosignature, an initial one, it would last an hour. The first 15 minutes was assessment, then 45 minutes explanation. Yeah. Off of that, based off of what we saw, we would make some basic recommendations supplementation-wise. Yeah. The foundational 5, multi-magnesium, fish oil, enzymes.
After that, we would send off an email with a PDF printout of their biosignature and just a brief explanation of their top 3 priorities, how to take their supplementation, and some basic recommendations from lifestyle management. Right. And what we would do is we would reassess that person every 4 weeks. So we would sell it like a 6-week package, we would sell it like a 6 biosignature package. So 6 times 4 is, what is that?
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. So we would reassess them once a month, and every time.
See that much change monthly? I mean, the one thing here, we should come clean. The biosig measures change in millimeters. Yeah. So I can go from, 5 millimeters to 2.5.
I think in the first, from the first time to the second time, you would see a big change, right? But after that, the changes become smaller. But you would address that by explaining it ahead of time,
and the
right?
trending.
I would say we're going to be making some big changes right off the bat. So you're going to see some big changes. After that, all we're doing is reassessing to make sure you're on the right track. Right. And so if I would reassess the person and see that they're not on the right track, I can then ask the correct questions and really get an understanding of if they are actually following through, where are they feeling challenged, how can I help them? Right. And over a 6-month period of time, you could have an enormous change. Yeah. And they would also be highly educated at that point, because to me, the biosignature was an opportunity to teach, right? I'm doing... The first one's 15 minutes assessment, 45 minutes of education. The second time is 15 minutes of assessment, 15 minutes of education. Just consistent, and then send out a follow-up email each time. But again, when you're working with hundreds of clients, and in the beginning when I first started the gyms, I had to do every single biosignature. So I was doing 60 hours a month of biosignature. Yeah. Plus I was doing about 60 hours a week of training clients, and I was also doing about 15 hours a week of business and sales and everything.
Slept every other month?
I slept 4 hours a day
yeah.
for about a year.
Right.
And I had to go into the gym.
Yes.
Because we ordered a all-in-one washer-dryer machine for towels, right?
Okay.
And it was coming from Korea. And it was 6 months late. It was supposed to come before we opened. So I would literally have to go in at 4 a.m.
Yep.
And bring all the towels that I did at home back in like these huge garbage bags, and then fold them all out, and then leave. And then at night around 9 p.m. I'd come to the gym, put all the nasty, sweaty towels in the garbage bags and drag it home and do it. And I did that for 6 months, and I was like, this was a mistake.
Well,
this was a mistake.
The irony to me is that we're going to look back on it with fondness as a memory. I remember when I had to.
Yeah. But I learned from all that.
Sure.
And what it taught me to be good at is how to outsource and systemize things.
Bingo.
So I didn't have to do any of it.
Yeah.
But I did it to an extreme.
Yep.
To the point where I literally had nothing to do.
Yeah. And that's ideal.
It is, but there's a problem with that.
Yeah.
I had nothing to do. So I got lazy.
Okay.
And I was so dependent on everyone else that I started to lose control. And then eventually I started to realize I can't be that outsourced.
Right.
Not yet. So I eventually stepped back into certain things.
Right.
And once I did that, the business blew up, right?
Well, and this is what I was going to say to you, John. If you look at the depth of the biosig or the depth of training as the guys progress, we need to split, and it's almost like a team takes care of each person now.
Yeah.
I think of competitors nowadays compared to back in Arnold's day.
They've got full teams, yeah.
You need a posing coach, a supplement coach,
nutritionist.
let's call it.
Yeah.
You need a drug expert.
For sure.
On how to time
You need
it,
a doctor.
how to dehydrate, how to, some of them how to pass the test. It all can be done. I'm not condoning it necessarily, but I'm saying if you want to play with the big boys, you're going to need that coach as well. But so you got your trainer for the routine. And then let's say the biosig just say, look, here's the trending of the fat storage patterns and the supplements that will go with it.
Yeah.
Then your drug guy, then your posing guy, then blah, blah, blah.
So, going to having full-on teams and really having a client, at any type of competitive level, really benefiting from having someone or a multitude of people that are coming together to support you.
Right.
What do you think is the future of our industry, like especially with everything that's going on right now? Do you see it returning to the way it was, or do you think that there's going to be changes that we all have to be aware of?
I mean, everyone reminisces, and the people that are really missing the gym are missing the whole gym experience. I think it's almost divided down the middle. I miss the equipment like crazy. There's no way I could make a home gym to rival, the 40,000 square foot, playground I've got downtown.
Yeah.
But I've also become very good at, I think back to Vince's gym, and Vince Jones' gym was the size of your basement.
Yeah.
And he had some key pieces. But like the old adage, Beethoven on a toy piano will always sound better than me on a grand.
Yeah.
So it's knowing what to do with it. But as for where the industry would go with it, I don't see people wanting to still stay at home and have virtual training. I believe in the first 6 months, there's been a real fear-mongering, and I've got some germ-phobic, surprising, really educated people that I didn't think would fall there, but it's an emotional button.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
You have to respect it.
Yeah.
But they will get bored, and they'll start to look over their shoulder and walk by the gym window and go, oh, no one's being taken out on a stretcher.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to go back and, do an incline press on the Smith machine.
Yeah.
I think you'll see a greater split. The people are learning. If I want to do this, train this way, this is what we started off talking about. So bodybuilders will be more committed to bodybuilding. I don't think, I don't want to say CrossFit, but cross-training is going to last, where everyone does a little bit of everything all the time. Because inevitably, thanks to social media and Instagram and what have you, some really amazing successes in each individual realm are being portrayed.
Yeah.
So they're understanding you have to commit to something in a more narrow niche if you want to demonstrate excellence in achievement.
Yeah.
And that said too, I think we all have become very health aware and fearful of being the victim in the hospital or weak and as you and I were talking, counting on the government. I really don't want that.
Do you think that the general public has become more health aware, or do you think that they're more confused than ever because the government has not mentioned anything about their need to improve their health, but instead are just focusing on stay home, stay safe.
They made
don't
sure
go to
that
a
we
gym.
can still get tobacco, weed, alcohol, and everything, but find a gym? No.
Yeah.
I think they're health aware in that they know the importance of health. How they define it, unfortunately, still falls often on, the medical profession who are not taught preventative. The nutrition the doctor learns is the Canada Food Guide, biased by the Dairy and Wheat Marketing Board.
Yeah.
But if you can go beyond that, and Charles used to say, you're extremely well read. It's just the books you chose were shit.
Yeah.
So it's helping the public or people find the right sources to learn what it takes to be robust in health, how to have a powerful immune system, and inevitably, no matter how you shake it up, the cream rises to the top. Yeah. So good information will keep resurfacing. I think people now talk more about vitamin D3 and K2 than they ever have.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And that will give birth to subsequent readings that are related.
Yeah.
And again, they're going to find common denominators to the better writers or the better sources. That everyone's saying omega-3 except this one site that says, ooh, be wary. Because as you know, in our industry, it's much easier to be a critic than to champion something.
And that's very interesting. And to play off that, would you say that to in any way, shape, or form state, even using research, literature, actual science, that people who are overweight or obese are at a higher risk of developing complications with COVID is called fat shaming?
I don't know if it's fat shaming.
Because from what I'm hearing, whenever that opinion starts to spread on social media, or if anyone with an opinion tries to share that information, there's always a small group of people who are going to try to cancel that person or that media outlet on that specific topic.
I think the difficulty is we've got competing cohorts right now.
Yeah.
We're in a time of social acceptance. It's kind of weird to me. I've always thought bodybuilders were the first feminists.
Yeah.
Because I was at Gold's Gym back in the 80s, and the females were in there pumping iron
in
with
the
us.
most amazing shape.
And we would spot each other on the bench. I never thought, oh, you're a girl, you need pink dumbbells, go next door.
They trained like badasses. It was awesome.
But so beyond that, and that
was the golden age.
Yeah, we're acknowledging from LGBTQ to the different minorities that have had to struggle to catch up. And the overweight or the obese are saying, don't judge me as being unhappy with myself.
Yeah.
They're wanting to be accepted. And we're saying, fine, I'll accept you, and I'm glad you're happy. I don't care what you are. As long as you're happy and you're not hurting anyone, you're welcome to my gym.
Yeah.
But outside of that, there are medical complications that are irrefutable. And when you hit a certain level of obesity, the amount of either aromatase in the system, affecting the sex hormone profile, is undeniably, incorrect.
Yeah.
It's challenged and needs fixing.
Yeah.
The inflammatory, or the cytokine storms they speak of.
Yeah.
We can't, disavow 24 hours of elevated cortisol as being something, but just like me as I am. I like you.
We like you so much that
I want more
want to help
right now.
you.
Yeah. So how about we take you to a tailor to make it look its best?
Yeah.
But
in the meantime, let's try to create some defense systems.
And if you want to stay at your current body weight, look, there are supplements that mitigate elevated cortisol or the way to time the meal and what have you.
Yeah.
So I understand that they feel comfortable enough to defend themselves at this time, but they came in ready for a fight when there was no fight to be had.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to help you.
Yeah, and to kind of differentiate, I want to make sure that we're aware of the difference. Acceptance, self-acceptance, social acceptance, I'm all for, and I think that is one thing. But I wouldn't even be able to agree that we are necessarily in a time of social acceptance, because social acceptance,
pushback, right?
Well, social acceptance in so many ways, and this isn't everyone, but in many, many ways, is really, really intertwined with cancel culture.
With counter?
cancel culture.
Cancel? Okay.
So, do you know much about cancel culture?
No, go for it.
Okay, so cancel culture is really like an online phenomenon right now.
Okay.
It's probably been going on for at least the last 2 years.
I'm glad I'm up to date.
And really what it is, and it's all over the place. It's if someone, generally people who have a voice with a lot of listeners, it could be a podcast host, it could be an actor, it could be a government official, it could be an athlete, it could be anyone or anything, and even a business, a corporation, they put out one message. And if they say something that is the wrong thing, 100% they should have some repercussions.
Right.
But some of these repercussions are so aggressive and damaging.
Okay.
They lose everything. They lose their business. They lose their company. They lose their family. They lose their loved ones. They lose everything.
So
because
gone is the innocent until proven guilty?
that's gone. That's
unfortunate. Right?
There's no more innocent until proven guilty. There's no actual process of investigating if something's true or what was the context. Like there's so many actors, actresses, directors that have been fired from massive movies that have completely ruined series because a tweet from 12 years ago was dug up by a group of people that were looking to cancel that person. Right. And that doesn't sound to me like they're trying to get that person to live up to their wrongs. It looks like they're trying to find something to cancel that person, which to me isn't social acceptance. That looks like social assassination almost, right?
I agree, and it's a fearful time then if you're in the public eye. Yeah. And the quickest defense is look at him. You know, exactly. You think I'm bad? Huh?
Yeah, that's true.
I've started, maybe a discussion with my wife though. You think I'm bad? Yeah. You see the other guys.
I do find that oftentimes when someone is in the crosshairs, they tend to just go quiet because
that's I think the standard advice.
Because like, what can you do? You say, "Listen, this is my opinion. That I did not mean this when I said it that way," and then also you have 5 million people responding, hateful, threatening, like things towards you. You have to you can't fight that.
As the timing of this interview goes, Meghan and Harry
just
called the royal family a racist regime.
Yeah.
They haven't said a thing yet, right? They've said very general, we're not racist.
Well, I believe that the Queen said that she was unaware.
Oh, yeah.
And that she obviously is very saddened to hear that was Meghan's experience.
And they differentiated, if I recall. They said, look, the Queen and Prince Philip, it's kind of like the grandparents said, can't we all just get along?
Yeah. I really wonder who is the person in that family that caused such a rift.
Well, I don't think we should.
I don't want to get into it because I personally
get in the crosshairs here.
I personally don't have enough information.
I can't say I watched the interview, to be honest.
I haven't paid enough attention, but that is one thing I think is strange that's going on right now. I think what we are looking at in that sense is the old ways don't work anymore.
No, and this was it. That the people that are bulking at all this acceptance of extremes or different.
Yeah.
It's a whole generation that came off of Leave It to Beaver and Andy Griffith.
Yeah.
White picket fence, and I remember when everything was just normal.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what's normal? And they can't even give you an answer anymore.
Yeah.
And it's an older generation. But people find security in rules or a code of conduct. Mm-hmm. And as soon as you start spreading that, there's a little fear and trepidation. Well, I want to make sure I do the right thing because I don't want to be at the receiving end of this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Yeah. I try to stay as far away from all that stuff as possible, but, obviously certain things impact everyone, and you've got to at least be somewhat aware.
Well, you and I are busy yelling at the government about COVID closures.
Yeah. So speaking, of COVID closures, what do you think's going to happen in the next couple of weeks?
So at the time of this, just to be clear again, we've been closed for almost a year. Like I think in 2020, I worked probably
287 days so far.
287 days closed. I
think Toronto's been closed longer than anywhere else.
Yeah, Toronto and Peel are our neighboring region to the west. Yeah, it's such a hard call because who's the driving force? the politicians, as you and I have talked about, our Toronto mayor, goes, look, I'm listening to the medical authorities. And it's a very myopic approach to put just the medical authority in charge, because what they're inferring is that our whole civilization and functioning city hinges on happy hospitals.
Yeah.
Well, as business owners, there's more to it.
Yeah.
And I think we did it backwards. I would have locked down the big gathering, like the big boxes, and had them just open for pharmacy and produce, because they're equipped for that. But they're already equipped with online and store pickup at the door.
Yeah.
Right? And I would have kept the small businesses open because they're much easier to control.
Yeah.
The gyms, I would have kept open with a limited number, certainly not 10 over 40,000 square feet.
Yeah.
But these people, their happiness is predicated on staying healthy and the gym staying open, so they would have stuck to the rules.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen, I think it's going to depend on how much pushback comes from the voters about, okay, look, enough is enough is enough. And we're seeing some pretty educated politicians in the surrounding areas.
Starting to step up.
Yeah, stepping up and saying, your tracking has made it clear that if people can't get the experience they want here, they're driving to the next place for it. And when they drive there, and I've listened to the Vaughan mayor, Belalacqua,
I have no idea.
Very educated. He said, look, I don't care if you come here. My businesses are happy to have your money in your business, but you're going to have to wear a mask. You're going to have to be 4 people in the little store at a time.
Yeah.
And as long as you respect my rules, I welcome your money.
Yeah.
And this is it. Are we municipal taxpayers that should each be stuck region, or are we provincial taxpayers and should have a right where parts of the province have their act together and stay clear? So I'd like to see us reopen. I have no idea who's in charge. I think the trouble you and I keep running into is trying to make sense of nonsense.
Yeah.
And when you keep saying, but this makes no sense. Yeah. Now the churches are at 15%.
Yeah.
After the movie industry came in and tried to use the church basement, and the cardinal said, well, heck, and I've got 10 people in my whole cathedral.
Yeah.
So you got enough publicity.
Yeah.
You know that your Twitter feed, it depends on to whom you follow and subscribe.
Of course.
What's the trending.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, there's a lot of common sense out there.
Yeah.
It's the only people I would subscribe to because I don't want to hear the idiots.
Yeah.
Right? Voter sentiment, economic need. I don't know about the gyms. I really don't. I don't know why we're classified with bingo halls and casinos.
Yeah. I think we're in for a long haul for
I'm hoping that the gym, akin to your model, where it's one-on-one training.
I don't think they're not differentiating enough. I mean, they don't even allow outdoor training in the gray zones. Like, what's the point of that?
But you can go to the park and do chin-ups on a branch.
With a friend.
You can play on the playground, do chin-ups and dips, but if you and I set up chin-ups and dips...
With a professional.
In a parking lot with a tent.
Rules,
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I think we've definitely gotten to a bit of a vicious cycle with the lockdown being the only method that our government wants to use.
And isn't there, piece after piece keeps coming and saying lockdowns are not the answer?
Yeah.
Or
CDC,
or
WHO, they've all said,
yeah.
And this was months and months ago, they said, if a government is still using lockdowns as their main source of keeping the virus at bay, they should not. And they should be using and adjusting and adapting at this point, because the damages that are caused by lockdowns are going to create a long-term health implications for the people in your communities. So it's like you're constantly trying to fix a problem by hitting it with a sledgehammer when it needs a screwdriver.
Well, the lockdowns to me were backwards. Again, had we out of the gates made the Alamo out of every old folks' home, and I mean the personal support worker,
we should have
lived there, stayed there.
Yeah.
The walls went up.
Should have paid them enough to do
everything.
As well.
You know what I mean? Because then we would have had a robust, functioning economy. People were still going to the gym. They were still going to different businesses because they showed the younger you are, and if you're optimal health,
much less risk.
You're resilient.
Yeah.
You got the sniffles for a week.
Yeah.
The Rock and his wife and kids, they caught it and they said, "Yeah, it wasn't much fun." The kids kept playing.
Yeah.
We felt like crap for a week.
Yeah.
I don't know if I had it. At the start of this, had something that showed profile as it.
Same here.
But it was also flu season.
And it's interesting because you really, really got to look at things like the majority of the cases and the deaths that we had the first year were coming from long-term care, right? And you're like, the main reason why we locked down was to protect them.
Yep.
But we didn't. We didn't protect them at all. They all, almost all of them died. You know what I mean?
Rotating support workers.
And we destroyed the long-term care sector.
Yeah.
And now we're like, okay, well, now they're all vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. We're getting there. Yeah.
They are. They're all vaccinated, apparently. And with that being said, we're still locked down.
I don't know.
So where's the logic with that, right? And now the logic is like, well, now we can't let hospitals be overran. I'm like, you had a year and a half now. You're telling me you haven't been able to add another bed?
Oh, what did you see? Was it downtown? Was it St. Mike's?
Yeah, they're doing all the triage centers.
They're
doing that all over the city because they're preparing for the third wave.
Yeah, it looks like a scene out of MASH.
Yeah, because they're thinking that the third wave is, well, the new variants, some of them are up to 30 to 100% more deadly, apparently. And also, they are, some of the vaccines aren't fully effective on all of them. Right. But that's not our fault. That's the federal government not getting the vaccines out fast enough. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And you know what? If the third wave doesn't come and you've got all these tents in the hospital parking lot, we're set up for a hell of a rib fest.
What are your thoughts on the vaccines? Do you think you'll get one?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to get one.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what's interesting to me, that they said this past year, no flu. There's been one case of the flu. You jerks. Yeah. It's a coronavirus, the flu. Yeah. So when you test on a slide, it's going to look like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So said,
my wife told me that.
It was the mask and the distancing. See, you made the flu go to zero. Stop it.
Yeah.
So that said, I wanted to look and compare last year's deaths in long-term care from the flu, because they're quite high, even with vaccinations. I don't trust certain countries as a source of a vaccine, especially the one that started this whole thing. Yeah. But the ones that seem to be approved by Health Canada, I'll give it.
I agree. I think we have a pretty good, like, Health Canada is pretty in depth. What are your thoughts on the vaccine passports? That's a bit political, right? I mean, you're pretty much your freedom is going to be dictated based off of whether or not you allow your freedom to health and how you choose to take care of yourself be dictated by the government.
Well, it's funny, as a business owner, the implications are long range. It's almost like Reaganomics and a trickle down. Yeah. Your insurance rates could go down if you guaranteed that all people coming to your gym have a green card saying, I'm devoid of disease, you're not going to be seeing any lawsuits as a source of infection. Yeah, that's true. Or, if I run a movie theater and I guarantee that all people attending must show that, so the guy sitting next to you, if he's coughing and sneezing, I'm not having a meltdown.
I guess personally, I would probably feel more comfortable knowing that no one's in this room with me unless they had proof that they had that vaccine.
Now, that said, if I'm a young person and I've been vaccinated, so I can't wait to socialize. I'm a young guy. I want to go meet some pretty girls at the bar. Yeah. I don't care if she's had a vaccine or not. That one's hot. Yeah. If I'm vaccinated. So I'm protected if she, I score and I get a nice kiss at the end of the night. Yeah. And she didn't get a vaccine and, lo and behold.
You're fine.
I'm fine.
But wouldn't that person still carry the virus?
Well, they carry it, but I'm robust in my immune response or ability to withstand the virus. But here comes the stage 2. They go, oh, but Mike, you could then carry it home when you go visit your grandmother. And even though she had the vaccine, she's not as full of vitamins and fitness as you are. Could there be trouble? I don't know. Yeah.
And also, doesn't the spread of it have to do with you pretty much coughing it on someone?
Well,
or sneezing in their face.
And they keep changing. And
I really don't know.
I have never in my life coughed or sneezed in my mother's face. Yeah. I mean, at 2 years old, you learned right away. Yeah. That ain't happening again.
Did you know in China they're now doing the COVID test through the butt? Yeah, why do you think they're doing that?
Sexual gratification.
You think so? I wonder if
the lockdown's been long.
Yeah. No. I have a friend that lives in Hong Kong, and she posted something on social media saying, "Anal over nasal." Yeah. apparently, it's an easier test to take. I can't imagine how that's possible.
Didn't they kind of, no pun intended, stick it to us? There were some Canadian officials over there in the health investigation, and they made them get the anal swab.
Really?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what they get. Yeah. What a world we're living in.
It took a lot of nerve to get my first, colonoscopy.
Yeah.
And I was like,
when are you supposed to start doing that? 35?
Oh, no, I think it's at 50 if you're asymptomatic. At 50, they send you that envelope where you have to send a little bit of your poop back in a bag.
Yeah.
And then if they see a cell culture, and then after that, it's sort of risk-based.
So I'm still okay.
Yeah, but I got a client.
Earlier, the better,
I got
right?
a client your age, and the poor guy, high stress. I won't give his name. And it started off as just a little bit of hemorrhoids, and we thought it was from hard workouts. Yeah. And then he went and got a check. He's like, "Ooh, hey, dude, you got polyps. Yeah. You got to go up there." So, again, the tough thing with socialized medicine is they want to wait till you're just
about to die.
Yeah. Before you get it. And
you have to be 98%.
I think we would save a lot of money for OHIP or whatever your government body if they would allow greater testing. Yeah. Lab testing has to be cheaper than treatment in the long run.
Yeah.
Wasn't under Harper, our previous prime minister. It was tax-free to buy vitamins. And yeah, you could go to health and service. And supplements were tax-free because look, even if it's a placebo, if it means you feel better and you're not going to the hospital,
saves
go buy your vitamin
money,
C and tax-free because you're not costing me in the system.
Yeah.
And I'm big on that. I think to lend momentum back to our whole field, if you made tax-free gym membership, health foods, personal training, everything
awesome.
like that.
Or incentives in some way.
Yeah, to incentivize it. Yeah.
I think that would be really smart of the government after this situation to say, you know what, we saw the majority of people who suffered from this were people who were unhealthy.
Yep.
So we are going to promote health like crazy, and here are the incentives to do so. That would be amazing, but I don't...
The moneymaker for them is syntax, not us not billing OHIP because we have to go for a second test.
Exactly.
So...
You'd be smart.
We've gone to Florida how many times, and you'll see the wine there or the booze, a quarter of the price of what we pay up here.
Yeah.
And it's all tax.
Yeah.
So funny enough that while they needed money to keep the economy going or pay us to stay home, guys were paying through the nose for their cigarettes, their alcohol. I don't know the tax margin on weed, but now that we go to a dispensary and not the guy in the alley.
I know that they charge a lot more for government regulated marijuana than they.
So that's where they were making their money back to pay our EI.
Yeah. It's nuts, man. I haven't even applied to any of the EI stuff or anything like that. Like,
I have to.
Well, I wanted to, but because I'm self-employed and I've pretty much reinvested every dollar back into the business personally, I was not applicable.
Right.
So we didn't get to benefit from that. And because my wife was on mat leave, she didn't get the benefit from that either. Yeah, for her, it was either mat leave or EI, and they screwed her mat leave up. It was 3 months late, and then they cut it off 50% too early, and it's just such a mess. So,
given all these issues so prevalent everywhere, I think the government should restructure and have a much higher level of ombudsman. You know what I'm saying? There's someone that we can go to and say, okay, look, I don't fit your current parameters, but but I'm someone who votes and
I agree. With that being said, so going back to like the future of our industry and what it could look like after all of this mess is done, I'm not talking about us slowly reopening and getting 5 people back into a gym space, but more so like, what will this look like? Do you think that there's going to be an ongoing need for online training, virtual training, much more than ever before? Do you think that
majority of virtual training is going to fall to the wayside?
Most people really miss human contact.
Human contact. I see, especially the female clients. I know of, so miss going to an aerobics class because they met the same people at the same time. It's been fascinating for me because during this lockdown in Toronto, I'm lucky I have a couple connections east of the city, and I've been a regular at a couple gyms there. Yeah. And I became a regular. But I was a client. I was a member. Yeah. I so look forward to seeing those same faces. I mean, stuff we've got an interest. A couple of the old guys that ride motorcycles like me and, same area. Hey, Mike. And I can't wait to see them. Yeah. So I'll be darned. And we had a great reputation at my particular gym, the Good Life Downtown. Our front desk was terrific. Yeah. And the guys there remembered everyone's name and something about them. So it was like that old show, Cheers. Yeah. Everyone knew your name. Yeah. I don't think you'll ever replace that. I think as adjuncts, additional products available. So you and I are working as, trainer and client, but I can't make it in to see you. I'm just having one of those weeks.
Yeah.
Can I go online with you and using the dumbbells I now have at home, do a, substitute workout?
Yeah, for sure.
So as substitutes, yes, I think some people now, because the employers have realized that it's very expensive to keep a full-size office downtown, especially in this, like Toronto. So they're encouraging sharing the square footage, which wasn't that the 4-hour work week? That was the essence of the whole book, that the guy kept pretending to be ill and couldn't come into work and said, share my desk. I don't feel good even keeping a desk. I'll find somewhere when I do come in. But he was still ultra productive from home on his laptop. And he eventually comes clean at the end, and the employer says, keep doing what you're doing. And
I would say the same thing. If you're getting the job done really well, I don't care how you're doing it.
Yeah. I'm very flexible. I'll do whatever you want to get my way.
Yeah.
so I think I do have some clients that have ended up opening some pretty neat home gyms. Adjustable dumbbell sets, adjustable kettlebells, high-grade bench.
Yeah.
So we can get, I would scale it at maybe a 7 to 8 out of 10 workout here and there using that. And then there are other things that are just, everyone misses an assisted dip chin, because despite, not many of us can do with our body weight a lot of chins.
It's also hard to do a chin up unless you've got high enough ceilings, right? I was thinking about putting a gym down here, and I realized that 7 feet and 3/4 doesn't cut it. All the equipment that I would want would be like literally right up against the ceiling.
I got a client in the northwest of Toronto, and as time would go, the city came in and said, hey, your pipes are old. You're a lovely part of the city, but you're in charge of fixing them. So she has to dig down and fix. So she took advantage.
She probably added some space, eh?
She added depth.
Yeah.
So now it's going to be high ceilings
That's
in the basement. And then deeper pipes.
Yeah.
But so she took advantage of that to do it. But few of us are going to dig down our floor in our basement just to put in the equipment.
No.
So I think they'll be available as adjuncts or as a go-to once in a while.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of people wanting to sit isolated at home.
There's a lot of people. Well, not necessarily.
Once the germaphobe or the germ phobia has passed.
Yeah, that fear. Like, I do see online so many people who are owners or the leaders in the field of online training really pushing, saying that in-gym training is going to die and won't survive this, and that the future is virtual. But the thing is, it's after the last year, I can't see that possible.
No.
Because too many people didn't enjoy it. No. And, of course, they're going to be like, well, you didn't do it well enough. I'm like,
stop.
Not necessarily. It's not hard to be a good coach when you're on a screen. But the energy, you can't mimic that,
Trying to push my energy on FaceTime through my phone, they're not getting the same experience. And I can't walk around the client, see them 3D.
Exactly. One of the the second podcast we did was with Melissa Irachi, and she was talking about community and how that actually is so tremendously important to immune health.
Yes.
And the sense of community and how key that can be in overall happiness and quality of life. And when you take that away from people, they get sick.
Oh, yeah.
Believe it or not. So I think you're right in the sense that sense of community cannot be recreated online. You can create a sense of community online, but it won't be the same thing, because the shared energy of being in a group of people socially distanced is unlike anything else. And that's why people get together for dinner. That's why people celebrate. Yeah. That's why people hang out with each other. That's why people have handshakes and hugs and all that stuff.
Well, Peloton has tried. Tried to do it. And I got one client, because he went and rented a bike from a gym that's shut down and said, okay, we're going to rent our high-end equipment. And it became so repetitious so quickly. And he said, but for the eye candy, Peloton's not stupid. They get the most gorgeous instructors they can, and he feels part of that.
Yeah.
Right?
I honestly think that they've done an amazing job. That is such a genius company. It's pretty much AI for the fitness industry. That's what it's going to become.
But it's becoming enough repetition, because there's only so much variety to a spinning class or what have you, that after a certain point, the economically astute go, you know what, I could get 3 of my favorite DVDs and drop them in and run the same class.
Yeah.
It's only, again, the community side. And that works so small group training where it's done as a Zoom call and there's laughter and discussion back and forth. My mother's 83 and she does fall prevention at home.
Okay.
It's an exercise class.
Yeah.
She says it's a group of seniors like yourself.
They all love it. Yeah.
Half of them going, "Is the volume on? You know, speak up. What?
Yeah.
Hold it." You know, blah, blah. But she looks forward to it. She's home in time for that.
Yeah.
Because she missed the social side of going to the seniors' home. My mom's still well enough to drive about in that. But so for me though, and this was interesting because at first I think, a couple of my clients got scared of the possibility of germ transference.
Yeah.
And even if I offered a mask and distance and gloves, they're like, do you mind? So I started with the one, went to the next. And it was fun for me to get out of the apartment and drive around the city. But boy, right now I've got a 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and 9 a.m. clients that I hadn't met at the gym.
Yeah.
But that I'd met through friends out here. And they said, try Mike, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And it's worked well.
Yeah.
And I would never have those back to back, except if I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
But if I'm driving, and driving in Toronto, especially as things start to open up again,
challenging,
traffic, I was killing myself trying to get here.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I remember when Good Life reopened the first time. Mm-hmm. Did they not send a message out to all their staff saying, listen, we understand that you had to do what you had to do to pay your bills, but now that we're reopening, we expect you to terminate any outside contracts you have with clients from in-gym and external to the gym and go strictly back to only Good Life stuff.
We, like any gym chain, have a do not compete clause. Which makes sense because if I went across the street, John opens across the street and says, "Mike, come on over."
Yeah. I just think that if they're not paying you, they don't have a right to tell you how to, when and how you can earn a living. Right?
Well, to your point, I don't know what the policy was because I haven't used clients from the gym.
Yeah.
Because my clients from the gym were kind of spoiled; they were used to the giant gym experience.
Yeah. So, and that's what really sucked because so many of these people that would have greatly benefited from switching to virtual instead of doing nothing for a year and a half.
Well, they had nothing at home.
Yeah. But these people...
And then it was so hard to procure equipment.
Yeah.
So I guess if I was to predict, to your prediction idea, everything comes back in stock. And now Canadian Tire, I can get at a reasonable price because there's now open market competition. An adjustable bench and some dumbbells and this, that. We might see a little more home workouts as people are finding it difficult to get to the gym as frequently as they wish.
Or in-home personal training.
Yeah, or a home personal trainer. Yeah. But then again, for the home personal trainers, I look at the difference in having to drive around the city.
They're going to have to charge a lot more.
We're going to have to start charging for that. Good luck finding free parking.
Yeah.
Unless it's at their home with a driver.
I can't even begin to explain how much money I was able to make just selling plates.
Yeah.
I had to do what I had to do.
Right.
At our beaches location, we had so many plates, way more than we would ever need if the gym was packed, like ridiculous. And I sold like 60% of them.
How much a pound? How many dollars a pound?
Easily $3 a pound.
Yeah.
Which usually goes for like 89 cents to $1 per pound.
Well, and now I'm seeing $4 plus a pound still.
Because they're always out of stock. Yeah.
And I said to a couple of the gym managers, if it was me, I hate 35-pound plates. Those are the plates the guy puts on the Smith machine to make it look like he's lifting 45s.
Yeah.
But they're so awkward. 45s, 25s, 10s.
Yeah.
I would have liquidated all my 35s. I would have got, this was the chance.
Yeah.
And it probably still isn't.
Yeah. I know a guy that made like $150,000 in 2 weeks. What he did is he flipped his entire gym's set of plates and dumbbells twice because he knew the owner of York Barbell.
Okay.
So, and this guy, York Barbell, every time he'd get stuff in, he would sell it to him first. Yes. So what he did is he took all of his plates, all of his dumbbells, sold them off for like $3.50 to $4 per pound. Right. Okay. And made a lot of money off that, then took the proceeds from that, used a portion of it to invest in new dumbbells and plates that were even nicer, brought them in, and then sold those out again because demand rose even more, and then he bought other ones, even higher end stuff. Right. And now so all of his plates and all of his dumbbells are like the best that they have to offer. But he made X amount of dollars from that too. So
smart hustle.
And I did the same. I just didn't have that connection, so I could only sell once, right?
And I mean, you see it in I see the kids who spend a fortune on those high-end running shoes. I think they're nuts. You know, that's
Yeah.
a generation thing.
Yeah.
My son,
$400 a shoe, right?
what the hell?
Yeah.
But,
I've had the same pair of shoes for like.
But they
2 years.
know people. So when the shoes come to Sport Check or whatever, their buddy who's working there part-time while in school keeps them out back. You know,
That's
oh,
smart.
sorry, we're sold out. You know, and then
You know, that's a smart hustle. Some people make $1 million a year reselling.
And my son had a friend that did that.
Like
He
the
flipped shoes.
Nike after sale or
Yeah.
post sale, like outside of retail.
Right.
That is where the real money's made.
Yep.
You don't make the real money from Foot Locker. You make the real money when you buy from Foot Locker before anyone else does and sell it 6 months later.
Yeah.
You sell it for 5x the profit. It's crazy.
Wow. And
Yeah.
so it was the barbell plate story.
Yeah, man, it's nuts. Mike, I think we really dove quite deep
over
into
the place.
our industry
Yeah.
and spoke about a lot of the things I wanted to talk to you about. I definitely wanted to ask more questions with regards to, you know, your earlier years and you know, working in some really interesting environments. And I think we'll have to get you back on to do that. But I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah. And is there anything you want to say to our audience?
Guys, thanks for having me. This was a blast. I had a really great time.
Good.
And yeah, as always, you make me think. I like that.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be tagging your social media in the YouTube description.
I'll be up and I'll be sharing.
And I really appreciate you coming on, and it was really fun. So yeah, anyways, make sure that you like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and of course leave a comment below. And if you have any questions for myself or Mike Demeter, make sure you post that in the comments, and we will be sure to answer you. And as always, peace.
Cheers, guys.